Now it's time to talk about equations. I know you've been actually waiting for this moment because it's really a fundamental concept in algebra. And it is helpful and it allows us to solve many word problems. An equation is obviously is a statement in which two symbols or groups of symbols are named for the same number. It's an equation or an equality. So for example, if I have here a numerical expression 3 plus minus 8 equal minus 5. Obviously, this equation or equality is obviously true because what I have here on the left side is equal to what I have on the right. Sometimes it can be false. For example, minus 7 plus 4 equal 2. Obviously, this statement is false. As I said, if you remember in the first video, an algebraic equation is different. It is neither true or false. It is what we call an open statement. It contains one or more variables such as 3x plus 5 equal 8. And if we're solving this type of equation, we need to find what this variable x actually stands for. The solutions of this type of equations are called sometimes roots. Sometimes we call them just the solutions, and we call the set of all solutions of an equation as the solution sets of the solution set of an equation. We call these products here terms. A term actually is just a product of any number of factors. The variables involved, for example, here it's x, are simply called literal factors. Literal factors. And the numerical factors is simply called numerical coefficient. Let me just change the color here. And this is just the numerical coefficient. There are some terms that we call that they have the same literal factor, so they have the same product of variables or the same variable, so we call like terms or similar terms. For example, 3x and 14x. To 7x y and minus 9x y and so on. Now we're going to solve first degree equations. So let me just adjust the board by adding a line so I can explain it on the other side. first degree equations. So what is a first degree equation? First, to start off by. So a first degree equation is just any equation that has a one variable. It contains one variable and only one variable, and that variable has an exponent of 1, actually. An example of a first degree equation is just, the same example we did here, just 3x plus 5 equal 8, or 2x plus 1 equal 5. And you can see, obviously, the variable, there's just one variable, it's x, and it just has an exponent of 1, obviously. Now, equivalent equations are equations that have the same solution set. For example, let me just take here another example of 3x plus 5 equal 8. Now, this is an equation. It's the first one. And the equivalent equations are, if we take another one, the second one is 3x equal 3, and the last one is x equal 1. Now, you're actually wondering, how do we solve these equations? How did we get x equal 1? Now, actually, the general procedure for solving an equation is to continue replacing the given equation with equivalent but simpler equations until we obtain an equation of the form variable equal constant, as we did here. So before actually getting to some additional properties that we're going to need, I just want to show you here what we did. So here, obviously, to move to the second equation, we subtracted 5, obviously, from the left side and the right side. And we also here divided by 3. So if we get 3x divided by 3, just x, and x divided by 3, just 1. It is just 1. So now I move to the additional properties that are really necessary, and it's actually what we did here. It's nothing fancy, just simple properties, and you're going to see by yourself. So if I add here the addition property of equality, it's very simple. Now, suppose A, B, and C are real numbers, then A equal B if and only if, this symbol is called if and only if, A plus C equal B plus C. And you can see that this C number here, it's a real number. It can be, as you can see, can be negative or it can be positive. So we can actually add or subtract a number, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's what we did here. Now, the other property is the multiplication property. It's the multiplication property. For equality. Now, obviously, here I have in addition to B to A, B, and here I forgot to add C, as you can see here. So C, real numbers, I have C must differ, must not equal 0. Here is A, so A equal B if and only if A C or A multiplied by C equal B multiplied by C. Now I'm going to show you some examples. I mean, it's very obvious, but just for the sake of this video, we need to add some examples. So, just to show you how first degree equations are solved. Now, let me just take this same equation. Let me just take another one here just to show 2x plus 1 equal 0. Now, to solve this equation, we're going to apply first the first property. So, what does the first property actually tells us? So, if I take a real number C and add it to both sides, I should have the same equation, or what we said here, an equivalent equation. So let me just take minus 1. So it's 2x. Let me just plus 1 and 0, and I'm going to add minus 1. Same here. Add minus 1. Obviously, what I get is just 2x equal minus 1. Of course. Now, what is the next step? Here I obviously used the first property. Now, the second step to get the next equivalent equation is by using the second property. So, obviously, what is the number that I would actually divide to or multiply 2x by to get just a variable, to get x? Of course, it's 1/2. So if I divide or I multiply 2 by 1/2, 2x, same here, 1 minus 1, multiplied by 1/2, and this is actually what we did. So what I get is simply x equals minus 1/2. Obviously very simple, and if you follow these steps to the letter, you'll actually be able to solve any first degree equation very easily, and you'll get the best grade.